Welcome in, everybody, to Monday Night Tailgate, Week 1. I'm your host, Tyler Knaeble, a.k.a. Tyler Football, and today I'm going to be talking about everything that happened over in Week 1, Thursday Night Football, what happened on Sunday. Also give a little preview for Monday Night Football. Let's dive right into it. Like I said, I'm your host, Tyler Knaeble, and I just want to hit on some quick stuff for as far as takeaways go. I didn't really dive too in depth on these, but I think they deserve some attention. Also, go check out the article that went live on the Player Profiler website today. You'll kind of get an in-depth breakdown of all my takeaways that I thought were worth mentioning this week. First, we got Joe Burrow and the Bengals are going to be fine. All right, I'm not really scared. I think the best thing to compare it to is when the Green Bay Packers played the Saints in Week 1 a couple of years ago. They go and they win the NFC. I think they were the 1 seed in the NFC. They lose in the NFC Championship game, but they got the doors blown off them in Week 1. So I'm not too worried about the Bengals. Joe Burrow is going to be fine. I know he missed obviously a lot of time in training camp with the calf issue. Jamar Chase was on the same page. T. Higgins. I would love to know actually what the record is for most targets but no catches in a single game, because T. Higgins might have set the record for that particular stat. So that was great. Second little takeaway I have, a little quick hitter here. Tua Tagovailoa, when he is healthy, this offense is explosive. When Tua is there and it's just the core of Tua, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, and then obviously Mike McDaniel kind of at the helm overseeing it all, this offense just cannot be stopped. I saw a crazy stat that this was the first game, Miami versus Chargers, where the Dolphins didn't lead like a single time during the game when they were on offense, something like that, where it was blow for blow. It was a fantastic game. If you watched it, if you didn't, you missed a great one. I'm sure a lot of the best ball weekly winners teams, whoever had those Chargers Miami players, sure they won a lot of money. Won a lot of money yesterday, but we still got Monday night, so we'll see about that. I can't go 2 seconds without talking about best ball, so I apologize for that. I'm an addict. So, up next we got Justin Herbert is back. I think last year people were expecting Justin Herbert to kind of take that next step. And I don't think we necessarily saw that. He was dealing with the rib injury, dealing with injuries to not only his O-line. Rashawn Slater was out for most of the year. Keenan Allen struggled with a hamstring injury last year. Mike Williams, who seems to always be injured. Yeah, she got injured yesterday. Came back in the game, so that was good for Mike Williams. Actually made a timely catch, and I think in the fourth quarter. So great for Mike Will. Didn't see a lot of Quentin Johnson yesterday, though. Sure, Podfather's taking a victory lap on Twitter for that one, as he should. So that's great. But Justin Herbert, he looked explosive yesterday. He looked like a top 3 quarterback in the league yesterday. I mean, that's what you're drafting at. If you're running any fantasy quarterback, you expect him to be this unbelievable fantasy threat. So he looked really good yesterday, and I feel really good about that. Also, just the whole Kellen Moore factor too. Like last year, it was dink and dunk. It was like it was a Tom Brady led offense last year with Justin Herbert. Dink and dunk to Eckler, all this this little stuff. This year it's Joshua Kelly. Joshua Kelly. Oh my goodness! So that was definitely a surprise. Definitely something I did not see coming. But we saw Justin Herbert slinging it down the field, just taking shots to those dynamic wide receivers. So that was great to see if you own any Justin Herbert in any format. So that's great. Last one I got here for quick hitter, Calvin Ridley. He is who he thought he was, and we let him off the hook. This dude was surging up best ball drafts. I did it again. Sorry. Surging up best ball drafts at the end of the season, because as soon as the training camp clips started to come out, Calvin Ridley looked like a dog. You saw Zay Jones dig route. We look at it at 0.5 speed when you put it next to Calvin Ridley. The dude is a route running demon. Also, Travis Etienne, nice block on Calvin Ridley's touchdown. I don't think that got enough credit on Twitter today. I'm a proud Travis Etienne truther, so I had to point that out there. Blocking matters too, okay? I love a good block every now and again. Just put somebody on their butt. I love it. So Calvin Ridley looks amazing. He had a ton of targets, ton of yards, ton of catches. Buy Calvin Ridley. If you didn't buy, if you still get Calvin Ridley, maybe that guy who's got him in your league or that girl in your league who's got him, maybe you can get him for the low. Who knows? I highly doubt it. No. I would not take this opportunity to sell high on Calvin Ridley, because we truly do not know how high the ceiling is, especially after Christian Kirk, some of those snap percentage stats did not look too good yesterday. Didn't play in as many snaps as he did last year. Not targeted or didn't really catch any ball. It was a non-factor yesterday, so thought that was worth pointing out too for Christian Kirk. All right, now let's dive into the meat of what I want to talk about. The first takeaway I had from week 1 is the Kansas City Chiefs. We have no clue who the Chiefs wide receiver 1 is just yet. I mean, all the talk about after the game is Kadarius Toney's bricklayer hands, and then we got Sky Moore doing a Harry Houdini disappearing act. Like, this guy, he was nowhere to be found on Thursday night. And everyone wants to kind of slam on those two guys, especially Kadarius Toney, because I mean, Kadarius Toney is one of those guys. Who gets more criticism on Twitter, Kadarius Toney or Kyler Murray? I would love for you to drop that in the comments, because I think it's really close. 1A, 1B. They're right there. They're probably at the top of the league. Oh, is my mic right? My mic bad? That's on me. That's on me here. I'll talk like this. Hopefully, is it better? Hopefully, it's better. Now, so diving in just to the Kansas City stuff. It's 1 week. It's really just 1 week sample size that we have to deal with. I mean, Sky Moore finished first in total team snaps, and then he was second in routes run among Chiefs wide receivers. Both those he was first and second. So this is a guy who I think is going to get some opportunity down the line. He may not have done it in week 1. I think Travis Kelce not being in that offense kind of fixes or doesn't bode well for the rest of the Chiefs wide receivers, because Travis Kelce opens the field for everybody else. I don't think Sky Moore can really be one of those, like, he's not going to be a number 1 option on a really good team. That's just not what his game is. But he can be the number 2 option or like the number 3 option on a really good offense, a Pat Mahomes-led offense. I think that's really good for Sky Moore. And Kadarius Toney, this dude's electric when he touches the ball. I mean, I know without the drops, it's probably the worst game he's ever played in his life, but you get the ball in his hands, he's going to make some things happen. The only problem was on Thursday, he didn't get the ball in his hands because he dropped it. I think both Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney are both still candidates to be the Chiefs wide receiver 1. I don't think no one else really broke out in terms of no one really seized the wide receiver 1 role on Thursday night. You saw Rashid Rice catch a touchdown, but he didn't really do much of anything else. We saw Justin Watson I think he led the team in yards. MVS led the team in yards, but they did not lead the team in receptions or targets. So it's kind of still up in the air who's really going to set themselves apart for this wide receiver 1 on the Chiefs offense. So I think if you like Kadarius Toney pre-draft, pre NFL season, and if you like Sky Moore pre NFL season, I don't see why you would go away from them just after one performance on Thursday night. Because everything's magnified when it's Thursday Night Football and everybody's watching. It's a lot different when it's not everyone's eyes are on you. Not everyone's talking about Sky Moore. Drake London put up 0 points. T. Higgins put up 0 points. I didn't hear a single person on Twitter say anything about Dallas Goedert putting up 0 points last week. Everything's magnified when it's Thursday Night Football. RELAX. Relax, as Aaron Rodgers would say. Now, into takeaway number 2. Bijan Robinson is awesome, but be very weary of Tyler Algier. Bijan, in his rookie debut, finished the day with 10 rushes for 56 yards, 6 catches, and he also had 27 receiving yards and a touchdown. And if you saw the touchdown run, it was disgusting. It was absolutely what every Falcons fan like myself, I know you see the Cordero Patterson jersey in the background, what every Falcons fan like myself wanted to see from Bijan Robinson in his debut. He looks explosive, he looks elusive, and he just looks like one of the best running backs in the league already. I know it's crazy to say after one week, but that's what he looks like. He looks like a top 10 draft pick. So that's great if you're a Falcons fan. Not too great if you are a Bijan Robinson owner, however, though. Tyler Algier actually outtouched Bijan Robinson 18-16, and he stole 2 touchdowns inside the 10-yard line, inside the 5-yard line on yesterday during the day. So not great if you're a Bijan. If you watched me on the Dynasty Roundtable or the other shows I went on this offseason, I was pounding the table for Tyler Algier, because on draft night, right after Bijan Robinson gets drafted, Arthur Smith gives a press conference, and one of the things he said is that Algier and Robinson are going to be used like lightning and thunder, with Bijan being more of the weapon and Algier being more of that bruiser goal line back. He told us the night of the NFL draft. He said it flat out. But nobody wanted to listen. Everybody wanted to make these Derrick Henry comparisons because Arthur Smith, everyone knows, he was the OC when Derrick Henry was going on his crazy run. And everybody wanted to make those Derrick Henry comparisons. The only problem with that is Arthur Smith was not making those same comparisons. On draft night, Arthur Smith said, quote, he'd never ask somebody to be like Derrick Henry, end quote. He literally told us that Bijan Robinson is not going to – they're not going to run this guy into the ground in year one. That was never going to happen. I think this – like going forward, this offense is going to be, I think, very similar to when the Saints had prime Mark Ingram and prime Alvin Kamara. In 2017, Kamara and Ingram both went over 1,500 yards. They both had 12 and 13 touchdowns, respectively. And I think that's just how this offense is going to be. I wouldn't say that Tyler Algier is going to go over 1,500 yards from scrimmage, but would I be shocked if Tyler Algier had more touchdowns this season than Bijan Robinson? I honestly wouldn't, because he proved yesterday that he's the goal line back in Atlanta. That's what it looks like. So I think that's the best way to approach this situation going forward. Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson, it's a committee. It's as hard as that is to say out loud for you, some of you Bijan Robinson owners, it is a committee, and we have to treat it as such. So that's what I got for going on in Atlanta going forward. That's how you should approach the situation, in my opinion. Takeaway 3, Brock Purdy is more than capable of supporting all the 49ers weapons. And what I mean by that is, if you drafted Brandon Ayuk, you should feel really good right now. If you drafted George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, you should feel great right now, because Brock Purdy can support every single one of those weapons on this team, because I feel like there were still some questions going into this season. Everybody knows about the magical run he had last season. Oh, Harry Snowman, I see you, baby. Glad I had Algier. I promise you, nobody's holding a bigger Algier bag than me this season in best ball in underdog drafts. So it's just the way it has to be. Tyler Algier is that guy. He's a dog. BYU. Also, if you want to take a trip down memory lane, search up Tyler Algier BYU interception fumble. You'll see the play. You'll know what I'm talking about. It's an insane play. Anyways, Brock Purdy's more than capable of supporting all these 49ers weapons. Everybody knows the season he had last year, but there were still some questions whether he could do it again. Now defensive coordinators have film on him. Also, he had a serious elbow injury, torn UCL. That sends pitchers out for like a year and a half in the MLB. But so I think there was some and like he wasn't there for OTAs. Kind of came back like halfway through camp, kind of thing. So there were still some questions physically, and I think just skill wise, is he going to be that same guy that we saw at the end of the 2022 season? And he proved every single doubter wrong, if there were any doubters out there. I wasn't doubting him, but the former Cyclone finished 19 for 29 with 220 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns. Not the greatest stat line, but in that Niners offense, that's a really good stat line. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's not really great for Purdy. Purdy's never going to be a top 10 like scoring quarterback in this league, I don't think. But he's like the best version of Jimmy G, I think. That's what he is. He's the best version possible of Jimmy Garoppolo. And that plays well for the 49ers. If he can take care of the ball, and I think he has a little bit more downfield juice than Jimmy G has, to be honest. And he's a little bit more mobile than Jimmy G. If Jimmy G on like the hotness scale is Jimmy G's like a 7 or like a 6.5. Brock Purdy's like a 7.5 or like a 7. Like he's just above Jimmy G. I think he's younger. He's got a little bit more potential, more room to grow. I think that's a compliment. The best version of Jimmy G. I don't think he's a top 10 quarterback. So I don't know. Yeah, I like it. I'll throw it on you. I'm still learning about the whole StreamYard thing, by the way. So give me a break a little bit. This is my first stream ever. Running from the command center. So I feel like that's a compliment. If the best version of Jimmy G is that's a pretty good quarterback. He led them to 2 NFC Championship games and the Super Bowl. So I feel it's a pretty good version. If somebody called me the best version of Jimmy G just in life, you see how Jimmy G's a stud. He's hot. He's an attractive man. He's a very attractive man. Anyways, I'm off that. Let me get back into Brock Purdy. We discussed the stat line. He led the 49ers to a 30-7 win over the Steelers. And according to Adam Schefter, he's also the first quarterback in NFL history to have a passer rating of 95 or higher in each of his first 6 regular season starts. While that's uber impressive for him as a player, the takeaway is how important that is for his weapons. Christian McCaffrey finished with 152 yards and a touchdown. Brandon Ayuk had 8 catches, 129 yards, and 2 touchdowns, one of which was a disgusting route at the break in the red zone. Absolutely disgusting route. Brandon Ayuk also, one of the more underrated route runners in the league. Just putting that out there. Deebo Samuel had a respectable 5 catches, 55 yards. That'll play. Doesn't lose your week right there. Maybe he does, considering where you took Deebo Samuel, but it's respectable. And George Kittle was the only one that was drafted high that didn't have that great of a day. 3 receptions for 19 yards. But he's also dealing with a little injury thing. He was on the injury report before the games, and you can't expect every single person on this team every week to have a touchdown. Not everyone can do it. You can't that would have to be like Christian McCaffrey catches a touchdown, and then Ayuk, Kittle, Deebo all had touchdowns. It's just not going to happen. I think the bigger picture point here is that over the course of the season, all of these guys are going to finish very high at their positions. I think realistically, CMC and Kittle can both finish top 5 at their respective positions. Samuel and Ayuk can both finish top 18, top 20 at their respective positions. The point I'm trying to make is Brock Purdy can have all these guys at the end of the season finish at really good spots in their respective positions. Now, it's not going to be every week, but everything's going to cancel out. Maybe one week you're going to have Kittle has 2 touchdowns, CMC has 1, or Ayuk has 2 touchdowns, and then Deebo maybe has 1, and McCaffrey has 90 rushing yards and 5 catches. That's going to be the kind of games I expect from the 49ers offense this year. They play the Rams next week. Really good game for that because the Rams defense not the best. So that's my third takeaway. And now before we dive into the Monday Night Football preview, let's dive into my last takeaway. Speaking of the Rams, never bet against Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay. I saw a funny tweet on X, I guess, not Twitter, because Twitter doesn't exist, on X, that somebody said, is Puka Nacua just proved that Cooper Kupp was a system wide receiver? And although it's an absurd tweet, there's 11% truth to that tweet. That's kind of right, because we saw Puka Nacua just kind of play the Cooper Kupp role. Puka Nacua finished with 15 targets, 10 catches, and 119 yards. Tutu Atwell, who everyone was calling a bust, he probably still is a bust, but he finished with 119 yards as well on 5 catches. What is Matthew Stafford looked like 2021 Super Bowl winning quarterback Matthew Stafford? I don't know how that happened. Stafford finished for 24 for 38, 334 passing yards. No touchdowns, but all those touchdowns were from Kyren Williams. That could have been a breakdown too. Kyren Williams outsnapping Cam Akers. I think, what was it, 24-4 in the first half? That's kind of crazy. So I think, are we underrating this Rams offense? As long as they got Stafford and McVay, it seems they can kind of make the wheels turn a little bit here. Seattle Seahawks were a lot of people's kind of dark horse coming out of the NFC. Some people picked them to win the division. We did on the Dynasty Roundtable. I don't remember who said it, but somebody picked the Seattle Seahawks to win the division, and they get killed, absolutely murdered by the Los Angeles Rams, who haven't had a first-round draft pick in 10 years. Maybe not 10 years, but you know what I mean. So I'm really not sure what to make of this. Is this one of those situations where, I remember last year, Chicago Bears got their first win. Sorry, Seth, if you're still in the chat, but Chicago Bears got a win in week 1 against the Niners. Looks like, oh my God, win against the Niners, that'll play. And then they get killed every 10 weeks in a row. They get the number 1 overall pick, and they trade it away for DJ Moore and company. But this isn't Seth's not on this live stream, so we're not going to spend too much time on the Bears. It was a sad game yesterday for Seth D-Wald. But anyways, I'm interested to see what's going to happen next week. Like I said, the Rams play the Niners. It's not going to be as Seahawks defense is nowhere near what the Niners defense is. The Niners defense just absolutely shut down Kenny Pickett. I feel like coming into the year, at least, people were more excited about the Pittsburgh offense than the Rams offense. So we'll see what happens there. But those are my 4 big takeaways of week 1. Like I said, you can go check out the article. I dive more in depth on some of the topics there. on playerprofiler.com. Now let's shift our gears to Monday Night Football, kicking off in about 30, 40 minutes here. Drop in who you need in Monday Night Football tonight, and I'll rate the possibility of whatever you need. Like, do you need 5 catches for 50 yards from Dalton Kincaid or Josh Allen? I personally, if there's any betting men or women out there, Dalton Kincaid are over 2.5 receptions is the easiest money you ever see in your life. I will go even further. If Dalton Kincaid does not catch at least 3 passes tonight, I'm going to come back on this stream this time next week. This is a weekly stream. We're going to be doing it every single week. Maybe it'll be a bet of the week. How about that? Next week, I will come back on this stream, and there'll have to be some sort of punishment. I don't know what that punishment is because I just came up with this idea in my head. Maybe I'll come and I'll wear a Saints jersey. I hate the Saints. I'm a Falcons fan. I absolutely despise the Saints. I'll come wear a Saints jersey. Maybe I'll just come in an apron. I threw that idea around on the email threads. This is a Monday night tailgate. Maybe I'll cook up some brats on stream, or maybe, I don't know, pound some non-alcoholic beverages. I don't know what the rules are on the other version of those beverages. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'll, like I said, I am so confident that Dalton Kincaid will have 3 catches tonight. I don't see a world where he doesn't get it against the Jets. Jets have a good defense, sure, but Dalton Kincaid is indeed him. So Dalton Kincaid over 2.5 receptions. Book it. And yeah, so I'm just excited to watch. Also, who do you think's winning tonight? Drop it in the comments. Who is going to win, the Bills or the Jets? I think personally, the line was what at? I think it's Bills -2 right now in New York. I like Bills -2. If you're, like I said, if you're a betting man, is Jordan Love for real? I had that written down on the article. If you check out the article, is Jordan Love for real? Seth, let's talk about it. No, I'll talk about the Bears now. Is Jordan Love for real? What if Jordan Love is just like it was? You had Favre, you had Rodgers, and now it's Jordan Love. Like, I know it's crazy to say after 1 week, but Jordan Love looks pretty good. He looked good all training camp. He looked good yesterday. Like, what if Jordan Love is just the next in line to torment Bears fans for the next 10, 12 years? How would that make a Bears fan feel? I don't think I would like that. Like, I can't imagine like the Saints, like they go from Favre to Rodgers to a new franchise quarterback. That would make me cry. As a Falcons fan, I don't know if there's any Saints fans in the chat, but I feel really freaking good that Derek Carr is the quarterback for the Saints for the foreseeable future. I feel great about it. I don't know how I feel about Desmond Ridder yet. I'll get back to you on that next week. It wasn't too promising on Sunday, but a win's a win. A win's a win. That's all that matters. Harry's got the Jets. I don't know, man. I think I like Bills -2. If anytime you can bet on the better quarterback, which is Josh Allen, the better team, which is probably the Bills. Like, the Bills are Super Bowl contenders until further notice. So they are every year until they show us that they are not. The Jets, I don't know. I feel like there's going to be some O-line problems there. Like, you watch Hard Knocks, the O-line, I didn't feel great about it. You got Garrett Wilson. You got the running back situation too. Like, I sat Breece Hall in every single league that I could this past week because he's not going to get a lot of snaps tonight. Dalvin Cook is, I don't know. I live in Minnesota, so I'm pretty familiar with the Dalvin Cook hate that was spewed by Vikings fans last season. So I kind of feel like Dalvin Cook's not like Dalvin Cook. Like, he's a big name, but is he that guy anymore? He's not like 2020 Dalvin Cook. So, Harry, is Josh Allen the better quarterback? I think he is the better quarterback. I don't know. I feel like that's pretty. Is that not well known? Like, obviously, he's more athletic, but I think Aaron Rodgers did not look good last year, as Seth Dewald will tell you. He did not look great. But yeah, O-line not good for the Jets. But yeah, it's going to be a great game tonight. Like I said, at me on Twitter at PPR Tyler. If Dalton Kincaid does not get 3+ receptions, you can flame me. You can do whatever you want because it's going to happen. Like I said, there will be I will hold myself accountable that if he doesn't, I would do something next stream that I don't want to do. I don't know what it's going to be. At me with your ideas on Twitter or DM me or something like that because something's going to happen. I don't know what it'll be, but I hope you had a good time hanging out with the Monday Night Tailgate Week 1 We're going to be doing this every single week. It's going to get more fun as we chug along through the rest of the NFL season. Everyone have a great Monday Night Football experience. I hope you win all your fantasy matches. And have a great week.
Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. It's important to me that all of our media be free. This is only possible because of you allowing a true independent sports media enterprise to thrive unlike any other in the business. So please subscribe to the All In Package to continue to make all of this possible, to ensure that all of our stats, information, data, content is available to you, especially you, the people that get the site and get the show.